You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here is your KLSU sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and today I am joined by my wonderful coworkers, Jayden Smith, William Gilreath, and behind the switch, or behind the monitor, I'll say, is Michael Poggi. What's up, Mike? Back there. Yeah, he's just giving us a little wave. What's up, guys?
Hello. How are we?
How's your Easter weekend?
It was great. It was good. There was no food on campus though, so that wasn't fun. I had McDonald's a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of fat now. Just took a great nap though, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
feeling
Will
nice.
was sleeping in here before we started.
Gotta get my beauty sleep.
Got to get his beauty sleep. The dorm life isn't always the best.
That's
for some of the freshmen, so William has fallen tribute to that.
I'm just tired today.
Man,
Just
that's
a
all right.
tiring day.
Yeah.
It's a Monday.
Jay, man, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, I haven't been on the show in a minute.
So working
it's been
man.
a crazy
On the ground.
month, if you will.
Yeah, it's not been a calm.
Not
No.
at all. But I'm happy to be back, nonetheless.
Man, what is today?
It's a calm blue Monday, man.
Hey,
Calm
let's
Blue
get it. We got a decent amount to talk about today, so let's start, guys. The NFL draft will start on Thursday with the first round, where the Tennessee Titans hold the number one pick. Lots of LSU guys that will also be waiting to hear their names, and wanting to also. But during this 3-day stretch, so it should be overall fun weekend. So to start off, I wanted to kind of, get us into the mood for this NFL draft. What is your most known NFL draft memory?
Most known
Or sort of like, what is your favorite NFL draft memory?
I've been trying to think of this all day, and the best thing I can think of is I just like when the LSU guys get drafted. I celebrate, I clap, I shed a tear. I don't actually, but it makes me very happy. I remember when Devin White got drafted in 2018, and it's like, oh, now we got to play him twice a year, but yay, good for him. I remember when Joe Burrow got drafted, I wrote a little song about Joe Burrow getting drafted.
We're going to have to hear that.
My mom knows all about it.
A song?
Yeah.
You made a song about
Wrote
Joe
a song
Burrow?
about Joe Burrow getting drafted.
Like Jack Harlow?
No, not like Tyler Hero. It was I think it was literally like 3 words. I think it was just me saying like Joe Burrow in a tune for like 2 minutes.
Oh, man.
Just because I was bored. It was COVID days, bro. It was 2020. But yeah. Just when the LSU guys get drafted.
For me, I think it's gonna be the next one. I think,
Okay.
and I hope all
Mr.
these
Poetic here.
headlines are not, just gassing me up. But I think Shedeur Sanders will be a New Orleans Saints.
That would be fire.
I really
That'd be
like
fire.
the guy, and I think if that were to happen,
It's a culture fit.
definitely
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. And if that were to happen, I think that would be the first time in a while where, as a Saints fan, I watch us pick a guy, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's-
genuinely
that's
happy
it.
about.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's a good one. Well, mine's a different route that both of you guys picked. It was 2019, the draft. So the year before COVID, and my friends and I hopped on a FaceTime call to watch the draft together. And the Giants come up with the 5th pick, and this is the year that Kyler Murray gets drafted first. And I tell my friends, I was like, watch the Giants pick Daniel Jones here. And at the time, Daniel Jones was like a not known guy whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure he got booed when he did get picked.
That's always
and
bad.
they picked him, and we just went crazy on the phone. We were like, oh my God. We were like, oh my God, no way they just did that.
Yeah. Well-
And so, yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm not a Giants fan, so it's just funny.
I remember the big debate after where it was like, why didn't they take Dwayne Haskins? And
Or not even Dwayne Haskins. They had a lot of
They had
good
a lot
players
of
in that draft,
options,
and quarterback
took-
was not really like the most needed
Right.
in New York. But yeah, do y'all have a tradition of watching this NFL draft?
I do,
At least the
actually.
first round.
Every day before, whether it's the morning or the afternoon leading up to it, I watch Draft Day. It's it's not the greatest movie in the world, but I like the movie. Vontae Mack, no matter what. So I always watch Draft Day, and then I'll probably like the week I used to. I don't do this anymore, but I'd always do a little draft on Madden that day. Just like
I like that.
see what would
I
happen.
like that. That's
And
a good
I
one.
would trade for all the picks because Madden's stupid, and then I'd build a super team. But yeah, draft day and Madden.
I think mine's a little more simple than that. It's literally just, all the guys that you see on the mock boards and the draft boards. It's just that whole week consists of me looking at their highlight tape in college and then watching the draft with friends and just talking amongst each other. Oh, I like that pick. I don't like that pick.
Yep.
That was stupid.
Yep.
Why would you do that? So I think it's
Been a
pretty-
whole lot of that lately.
pretty simple,
yeah.
but a tradition.
I like that. Yeah, like I said, it started in 19 with my buddies when we did FaceTime, and then COVID happened, so we definitely had to FaceTime to watch it. And then after that, we tried watching it in person with each other, and so we've been doing that the past few years. Now they're all working men now. All my friends are kind of older, so we'll probably hop on the call for the first time in a few years this year. It'll be fire. It'll be fun. So starting off with the actual draft, would you say this is one of the weakest quarterback draft classes that you've seen in your time watching the NFL? As a whole,
there's only two that
pop out
that
at you.
just pop out at you. And then as far as the other quarterbacks I can think of, only Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe comes to mind, and I don't think any teams are just clawing to get a chance at them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put too much stock into that because a lot of times it's the draft class that you don't see it being this big class and have a lot of names on paper that end up shocking everybody and actually being productive in the league. But I do think from as far as like a talent standpoint and just college pedigree, this is one of the weaker quarterback draft classes because Cam Ward literally just played himself into being the number one pick.
The gap is like at 1 to 2 is just kind of tremendous.
Yeah.
And then from 2 to 3, it's just
Also
bigger.
even bigger
Yeah,
gap.
it's
I was
crazy.
about to say.
I don't think it's the weakest draft I've seen in terms of quarterback. 22 was pretty bad.
Which year was that?
It was the Kenny Pickett year. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback off the board.
That was bad. But Kenny Pickett was all right.
He was all right in college. The fake slide was kind of tough. He
Desmond Ritter.
but
No, I'm just giving you another guy.
yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
well, we know how
I
that
can
turned out,
I can
so.
name you one worse.
You can
19.
really.
First quarterback was Kyler Murray, but after that, man, bad news.
Are you talking about like in terms of how they ended up turning out, or like the
Kind of
hype
both.
heading in to? The
Well,
draft?
kind of like just the all-around class with talent.
Okay.
Kyler carried that, but I mean,
did.
like if you're looking at Drew Lock, Gardner Minshew,
Yeah.
I
Journeyman.
saw Jared Stidham.
Journeyman.
Awful.
Well, I guess Drew Lock's not with Denver anymore, but
No, he's
Drew,
with
Drew Lock was a starter this year. Jared Stidham thought he was going to be a starter this
Jared
year.
Stidham thought.
He thought.
He thought.
So
No, yeah, there's been some bad classes, so I'm not going to say this one is, especially when you have guys like Quinn Ewers in there that could end up.
Oh,
being
yeah,
there are a
Quinn.
lot
I
of
forgot about
there are a
Quinn.
lot of
Kyle McCord.
second, third stringers in the draft. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a future Hall of Famer at quarterback in this draft.
I agree.
But
Hey,
it's-
man, you can make a good career out of yourself being a solid second and third string.
for
Generational
sure.
wealth. Who was the guy? It wasn't Colt McCoy. Maybe it was Colt McCoy, but there was another guy. He played at like 6. He played for 16 different teams or something like
the
that.
McCown.
It was McCown. Thank
McCown?
you. And the NFL Films made like a 7-minute YouTube video on his kids and all their friends. They'd wear his jerseys on Jersey Day at his school. I
that's
remember
cool,
watching that. And
17 jerseys.
however many it was, he had a mansion because he gets paid to just sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Cool.
Great job. I would love to have that job.
So, who's the quarterback that is flying under everyone's radar that may be a steal?
All right. So the big two are Cam Ward and Shador.
Shador. So that's not under anyone's radar.
People are talking about Jackson Dart with the Saints at 9. Poggi is very, very, very much against that.
I wish I could see his face
So
right now.
He went like,
He's laughing right now.
it was, so he's not really under the radar either. I think, to me, people just kind of forgot about Will Howard. He won
That's
a national
true.
championship. He's got good
I
size.
forgot about Will Howard.
He's got some great size. I think he's a guy that could be a good backup quarterback, win you a couple games. It reminds me a lot of Matt Flynn as like a prospect. And, Matt Flynn made his career
pull.
off those 2-3 games that he started for
Won a
Green
Super
Bay.
Bowl.
But he won a Super Bowl. He made a good amount of money. I think Will Howard is is a guy that we'll hear his name called in maybe the 5th or 6th round, and I think he'll shine in the preseason, and there'll be some hype around him.
Okay, I like that pick. I think I'm gonna go with Kyle McCord, just based off of the season he had last year for Syracuse. It was a great bounce back year for him because
they literally gave him away at Ohio State. That was sad, bro.
Yeah,
it's a nice kid, man. I met that dude at the Manning Passing Academy.
Oh,
bro,
wow.
He is so nice, bro, and it was sad too. They had Will Howard on one side, and he was directly opposite on the other side. Nobody was talking to little Kyle, man. But everybody wanted to talk to Will Howard. And granted, he won a natty. But Kyle McCord's going to go make him some money.
Yeah. I think he's a good guy. He has a great size. He threw for 4,700 yards last year. And not to mention, he has played in a big program like Ohio State. He's played in big games. And so he has experience under lights like that in situations. So as far as steal, I don't know if I go that far, but
I would say he would be a steal.
I think this could
if they pick him up late enough.
A pickup, just for somebody to come get some reps in and just see what he really just blossoms into.
Yeah. Well, and he beat Cam Ward head to head. That's what a lot of people forget too.
He did.
And that's what knocked Miami out of the playoffs. Was when Syracuse beat him head to head.
Got Clemson in the playoffs too.
He's shown that he can beat the number one pick in this class pretty much. So I think another guy that no one mentioned is I'm not going to try to say his last name, Tyler Shue or something.
Tyler Shue. Nah, man, I saw that one clip.
He's not
of
not
him backing
great.
up, throwing it sidearm.
He's not great.
Completely.
But
missed
Mel Kiper has him 4th on his board, and to me that's pretty.
As quarterback.
Well, it's Mel Kiper.
Maybe GMs value him. I don't.
Yeah, maybe so.
I
had Kyle too. I had Kyle. Mirrors a lot of the NFL guys, like of how his style of play is. Got a weird arm slot, but it works for the NFL. He's huge, like you said. He's got a really big arm, and he also can run the ball too. So a lot of people don't understand that. But I think if he does if he drops, I think that's where he becomes the steal of the draft. Yeah. We talked a little bit about Travis Hunter, so we're gonna kind of skip that question just because of time. But we talked about him last week. But
okay.
But we can do it quick. Fine. I would say I think Cleveland picks him up now. I talked about it last week. I thought it would be New York eventually picking him up, but it's like Cleveland can't pass on that. Would y'all agree?
I think the Cleveland organization, the Cleveland Browns organization, has shown that they can make some interesting decisions at times. And so we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they took him. You look at this is a guy that I think is probably the most. What's crazy is he might be the most hyped non-first overall pick in forever. That I can
non-first.
He's so hyped up, but he's not going first overall.
Yeah,
he's hyped up like he's the best prospect in the class because he is. Yeah, but he's not going.
Yeah, he's
first
not going
overall.
first. Yeah. That's a really good point. I could see Cleveland taking him. Pairing him alongside Denzel Ward. That would be a great corner.
Not only that, but Jerry Jeudy on the other side.
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
Getting those reps in practice every day.
But who's going to throw to him?
You'll cross that bridge when you get there. You have to draft talent when you can get it.
Deshaun.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I could also see New England taking him maybe. With they just signed.
I don't think he drops. I don't think he falls
4.
that far to 4.
Where's New England? Are they drafting 4?
4.
Who's 3rd?
New York.
Ooh, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
It's going to be 2 or 3.
Where does Abdul Carter fall into all this?
Well,
that's a good point. But here's the thing: Cleveland don't need no edge. They have Miles Garrett. They just re-signed him. So
and they gave him $40 million.
Gave him a lot of money. So they don't really need another defensive end. But the Giants do need a DN, but they also need receivers.
I've been seeing that the Giants might not take Abdul Carter and that they're interested in Mason Graham from Michigan. And so Abdul Carter would then fall probably to Vegas at 6.
Or 5.
He could go to 5. But, that's another guy. Like him and Travis Hunter, I think, are 1-2 in terms of the best prospects in this class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know I said last week if he didn't have that foot injury, I think he'd be the first overall pick, Abdul Carter. So, I think that's the story of draft day.
Okay.
have to wait and see, man.
Yeah. Okay, so which player do you think will be the steal of the draft in all the pool of players? I can go first if y'all want.
Please do. Yeah.
I've got two.
Okay.
I got Mason Taylor.
I was gonna
just
say
because,
that.
I mean, this dude has the prototype of every great tight end in the league, especially right now. You look at Hawkinson. You look at, I mean, these are all huge guys. Kincaid, right? You look, yeah, exactly. Any of the Bills for sure, tight ends. Kelsey, like I think he fits the prototype. And I think he's got the frame, he's got the speed, he's got the hands. He's going to be a good tight end, especially if the right team picks him up. Yeah. And then the second, I have Trey Harris, Louisiana kid, really balanced receiver. I think he is a first-round talent, but the need for a wide receiver isn't heavy in this year's draft. So I think it's one of those things. I think he's probably your most polished receiver, in my opinion, in this year's draft. As far as the route tree goes, I think his route running abilities is by far the best of any of the receivers that are kind of lived up. Like you have McMillan, who's a vertical threat. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Luther Burton. You know, his route tree isn't the greatest. He's still a physical guy. And then you kind of have the speedster with Golden from Texas. Mm-hmm. I think Trey Harris is probably your best route running.
I like both of those picks. I think another guy who just off the edge that could be, I think he'll go third or fourth, Braden Swinson from LSU. I mean, we saw what he's capable of doing. I've seen some mocks that have him as a second-round pick. Yeah. And I'm not saying he's going to go and be a all-pro caliber player, but I think that's a guy that'll fall similar to Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor will fall to the 80s and 90s. And his dad's a Hall of Famer. It's in his literally to wear that gold jacket's in his blood. You know, it's in his DNA, and I would not be surprised if he's one of the best tight ends in this generation.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh, that's a lot.
Nah,
I have high
expectations too. I think he was used wrong here,
especially year two.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
same for Jack Besh. So
yeah, things happen.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Luther Burden.
Okay.
He was just one of my favorite players to watch while he was in college, man. Yes, he's a vertical threat, but he is also insanely good after the catch. And that is something I value highly in receivers. What can you do after the ball is in your hands? That's why Jamar was able to win the Triple Crown this year, because after he catching it is one thing, but you can't get him after. Like that's literally where the damage is done. And I've been seeing it seems like he's just falling further and further on draft boards. I guess, like you said, there's not a big need for receivers in this draft, and just obviously, situational needs and things like that. But I still think he is one of the best playmakers in this draft. I think he was one of the best players in college football, period.
He's the best receiver coming out of last year, I would say, like entering the year. Meaning.
Yeah.
He was expected to go.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you could go him. You could go Emeka Ibuka. Like, bro, there are Jade Barron. There is a couple names that come to mind, when talking about who's going to be a steal.
That's a good one. Which team do you think that's not really quite ready for a Super Bowl could change that with this year's draft if they do it right?
I think a team that needs to do this draft right is the Cincinnati Bengals. All right.
Well, we're gonna get to that. Yeah. That's gonna be getting into that.
All right.
Yeah.
Then I'll sit out here. I'll sit down.
Right.
That's
I'll follow
be your
up
answer
with that.
though. Yeah. That's. I think that's probably my answer.
Bengals. Yeah. At Commanders, just because if they get gems, because they don't have like the best draft picks as far as like placement. If they could find some gems defensively, especially at that defensive line in corner position, they're going back. They're going to be back in the NFC Championship. But you talked about it just now. Which team do you think has the most pressure of drafting well right away?
Well, the reason why I said Cincinnati is because what was the number 42% of their cap space? Some ridiculous amount of their cap space is going to three guys, and they all play on offense. And what's happening with Trey Hendrickson hasn't been determined yet.
Yeah.
And so you're going to lose one of the best edge rushers in the league. And then you had that horrid defense last year that kept them out of the playoffs. And so they have gaps that they need to fill, and they need to fill them with cheap contracts. And the way you do that is through the draft. The Saints did it well. in
17,
2017,
18,
18. And that was one of the best draft classes I've ever seen in my lifetime. And if the Bengals can hit that, and I think this is the draft class to do that in, because I think there are a lot of sneaky picks that'll fall, like your Mason Taylors. I'm not saying they should take Mason Taylor, but especially on the defensive side of the ball, that they could really benefit from at corner,
like
at linebacker,
defensive tackle. Just
they have a lot of pressure
for sure
to hit in this draft, and they need to do it with the later round picks. It's not necessarily that first or second round pick that they got to get their guy, but you want to get some quality players late.
Yeah. They did half the job right with finding a way to pay Jamar Ante.
You got to.
And now the other part is, fixing the rest of this mess, because it is still a mess.
Get a defense.
Like Will said, their defense literally kept them out of the playoffs. There's like 3 or 4 games they lost because they couldn't do their jobs properly.
And one of their the other defensive end, Sam Hubbard, is retiring. So
Yep. And that's a big
you better go
loss,
get
too.
defense only draft. This is literally defense only draft. Maybe an offensive tackle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Maybe a
I mean,
running
you
back.
could find that late.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to find that late.
And they could get a guy like that, undrafted free agent as well. So
Same. Yeah,
it'll
exactly.
be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I had the New York Giants. Man, they're in a lot of hot water right now, especially with their GM. Had the chance to pick, right last. Well, they did with Malik, but I mean, could have traded up.
Get Jayden.
To get Jayden. They didn't. I think also the coach, Brian Dable, or Dabble, whatever his name is, on the hot seat too.
Yeah.
He's not that good
for
me to pronounce his name right.
Well, damn.
So they've got
just disrespect.
They've got to go in though with the win now mentality in this year's draft instead of the short term fix stuff.
And it feels like ever since that Daniel Jones pick, like the Giants franchise has just been on that downward trajectory.
Yeah, they're cursed.
And then that documentary, Hard Knocks, that they put out last year, really did not help them at all. You let your best player in I don't know how many years, and Saquon Barkley walk, and then he goes and wins the Super Bowl with a division rival. It's just bad PR after bad PR for the Giants. So I think you're right too with they need to save their jobs.
Yeah, so moving on to the LSU player side of the draft, which LSU player do you think will have the most longevity in the league in this year's class?
I mean, you said it earlier. I mean, Mason Taylor. I think he's a very good prototype for how offenses are playing in today's NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the perfect tight end, what you need. He's very good after the catch, very athletic, very strong, secure hands, a good blocker as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the best chance out of any Tiger that's going to get drafted this year to, have a long career. I think it's just all going to depend on where he falls, what team he lands on, and how they find a way to use him.
That's true. It's usage.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to say Will Campbell. I think it's the easy answer for this. You can't really go wrong with Will Campbell or Mason Taylor. He's going to be a top 5 pick. The expectations are going to be really high. I think he's the best. I think he's the best offensive lineman in this draft class. We'll see what the GMs think. There's concern over his arm length and his hand size.
Just watch the tape.
Will Campbell has elite footwork. I don't know if, and this is a guy that's stayed healthy in college, which is
hard to do as an
really hard to
offensive lineman.
do, especially when you start every game for 3 years. And you're an offensive tackle in the SEC. Like, he's healthy. His footwork is great. He's just insanely strong. I'm not trying to glaze him, but like, to me, he just checks off all the boxes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got Will Campbell too. I firmly believe he's gonna, make his way up to one of the highest paid linemen.
I told First last week he's a gold jacket. He's got a gold jacket.
Yeah.
He's got a gold jacket in my
So
opinion.
which LSU player in this year's draft will be the biggest steal, in your opinion? I know we already mentioned Taylor, so maybe go a different route here, guys. You mentioned Brady
I
Swinson.
was gonna say Swinson again. Yeah.
Braden Swinson is a really good steal, though. I mean, sometimes the answer's just in your face. Every game last year, Braden Swinson caused some type of havoc, like at least once a game. Just his energy, the way he was always in the mix of, just causing commotion on that front seven. I think he could be a really good steal. he's one of those players where I look at it and I'm like, he was so good in college. I don't see why he fell this far. I know there's, politics to it and things like that, but yeah, I think he's a great talent and he's going to be a great steal for whoever
Size
decides to
maybe,
pick
yeah.
him.
Well,
A bit of a thing.
and his counterpart too, Savion Jones. I don't know where he's projected to be
I think he's a third day.
but I think that's another guy to keep your eye on.
I agree.
Anyone who can, have success on the edge in the SEC, they've got potential.
Yeah.
And it's just about
I agree.
The situation they get put in, the coaching, and how their bodies transition to the NFL, because that's the biggest adjustment. And it'll be the same with Will Campbell. It'll be the same with Braden Swinson. It'll be the same with Travis Hunter and Cam Ward.
Yeah,
it's how they can adjust.
Mine's on the line. I got Garrett Dellinger. I think that guy is so dominant in the trenches, and it sucks because Emory Jones and Will Campbell took all of that attention from not only him but Miles Frazier too. So I think he was the glue guy literally for this LSU team. When Garrett Dellinger got hurt, LSU couldn't do anything. Garrett Nussmeier was getting sacked a lot, and there was more put on Will Campbell and Emory Jones's plates, but Garrett Dellinger was a guy where he really just didn't do much wrong. And LSU's going to be missing that a lot at guard this year.
And he's a guy that I think could be moved around on the line a little bit too. I think he's definitely a preferred guard, but
he could play center.
They tried to play him at center.
Yeah, that didn't go great.
It didn't go great, but you could experiment that a little bit if you want. So
I remember one moment.
We don't have to talk about that. We don't have to bring that up.
Ryan Kelly.
No.
Dellinger, what the? Yeah, and I'll let you
fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank. But let's move on to the NBA playoffs. I know Jay's been enjoying these NBA playoffs. So has Will. I think you've been watching too.
Yep.
They were kicked off this past weekend. As there are many decent games. I'm sorry, guys. I hate the NBA. But there are some blowouts. I like the playoffs. I just don't like the NBA. So let's discuss a few things we have seen so far. Don't look at me like that.
Like what?
I don't know.
What?
You're just a lot of disappointment in your eyes. So let's see if our predictions have changed here. Los Angeles Lakers throttled in game 1 by the T-Wolves. Do you think this game itself kind of showed why the Lakers needed to go out and get a center during the trade deadline?
Not this game. They got throttled because they couldn't guard the three-point line. I mean, I watched that entire game, and it was just 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. And these are open threes. It's like they weren't even making them take really contested shot. I mean, every time I looked up, Nas Reed was open in the corner.
Nas Reed. That's all we're going to say.
So, yeah, that's why they lost that game. They couldn't guard the three-point line. I mean, it's literally that simple. When somebody when a team makes 19 threes, shooting over 50%,
just not your night.
It's going to be hard to beat them.
Yeah, the Lakers kind of always, at least that I can remember, they seem to stumble in either game 1 or 2. In one of those games, I feel like everything that could go wrong goes wrong. They forget how to guard the three. They can't hit their shots. Or the other, I mean, they didn't play well defensively, but Minnesota also just made
a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And so, did they need to go get a big? Yes, but that's not why they lost.
Yeah.
So.
I think, though, the way that the Lakers non-existent in their postgame this game definitely didn't help that offense, that Lakers offense, especially when the Wolves were defensively more able to focus on Braun or Austin Reeves. And so if they can't get a Hachimura or Jackson Hayes going, it's going to be a struggle in this series, and it really will be because you have Julius Randle, one of the best post players, and defensively is really an anchor down low. And then Rudy Gobert. I haven't even Gobert.
Great defensive player.
I haven't even talked about him. And Gobert. Sorry, I pulled a flight react for some reason.
Flight crew stand up.
So I think having AD right now would definitely help out for sure. But it is what it is. But it kind of leads me to: is this a bad matchup? Would you consider this a bad matchup for the Lakers? Where I do believe this to be a bad kind of matchup for them in general.
I think any matchup looks bad when you when your starting center is Jackson Hayes. Like when Jackson Hayes,
Yeah.
and that's not a diss to him, but I'm saying like if the center is supposed to be like the anchor
Right.
of the defense, everything is supposed to stop there. And if Jackson Hayes is your
Can't get
it's-
going
it's
either.
not him.
Yeah.
If he's your only guy that's supposed to be doing that, every matchup is probably going to look unfavorable for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lakers have been willing to bite that bullet for the last 2 months by getting Luka. And they realize, okay, we're just going to have to beat you playing another style. So they still have great size and length as far as like all their wings and guards and things like that. They just have to find a way to really just eradicate that
height.
inside pressure and that height that Rudy Gobert brings.
And I don't think the offense is going to be the issue. It's simply defensively. Are they going to be able to combat Gobert? And look, you know, he's been doing it at a high level for years now.
Yeah.
And he did it with the Jazz, and he was kind of that anchor of that Jazz team. You know,
When they were in the playoffs,
and
yeah.
so it's a test for LA. Whether or not is it a good matchup? It's not ideal, but
Yeah, I feel like this is their worst matchup, though.
well-
in all of the playoffs, like I feel like they can play small against other teams, but this one specifically is you have two big guys that are just down low there.
It reminds me of that Pelicans Blazers matchup when New Orleans swept Portland, and everyone was like, "What? That's crazy!" But then when you really looked at it, like
It's like, yeah,
it
it
makes
made
sense.
a lot of sense.
Nobody was stopping
Like,
AD,
no one was
yeah.
going to stop him, and if some other things happened, then they would have won the ring. But whatever. So yeah, I don't think it's a favorable matchup. But I actually have a buddy of mine who said T-Wolves in 5, and I don't know if I agree with that, but
no.
we'll see. We'll see how the
I
Lakers
mean, if they
respond.
win, I don't know
We'll
that
get-
I'd just be shocked, but
We'll
I
get
don't
to
think
that.
it'd be a 5.
My thing is like it's a bad matchup for them defensively because, like we said, Julius Randle exceptionally well. Gobert, like I said, able to clean things up for when he misses. So you also look at it from a level of Naz Reid. He can play the 4 or the 5, really, and he can stretch. So like he can stretch the floor. And what the Lakers love to do, what do they love to do? They love to stretch the floor too. If you're able to play with the stretch lineup as well as the big lineup, and you can have both of those working for you, that makes it a lot harder on the Lakers to be able to defend. As far as, especially down low, man, it's so hard to keep consistently at least counter them. And we really didn't see the Anthony Edwards show in game one, which makes you feel a lot better if you're a T-Wolves fan.
Well, and they were in the people. I feel like it's easy to forget they were in the Western Conference Finals last year too. And they had Cat and they lost Cat, but still, like this is a team that I think Ant wants to get back. Rudy wants to get back. Like
Jaden McDaniels,
they're not afraid of the Lakers.
Yeah. So, do your predictions change with game one or not really?
It's game one.
Is it still Lakers in 5, Poach?
What
What would you say last time?
I said, I don't even remember.
You said Andre's going to be
I'm
bald.
going to come up with
It was
He called me out last week.
Yeah.
He said
Andre's gonna be
range ball,
bald.
something ball. Andre's going to be bald.
Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo ball, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Lonzo ball.
Range ball. Andre going to be bald. Lakers.
Lakers in 5.
That's just crazy. I would say it changed for me. I had the Lakers in 6 initially, but I think T-Wolves in 7 now kind of makes more sense.
Well, I will say this. If it goes 7, then I definitely am picking the Lakers. I mean, just because if game 7s are like different from any other playoff, obviously, but I think if it gets that far and the other team has the greatest game 7 performer ever and Luka,
Yeah, here's the
and
thing,
the other
though.
team doesn't,
You got a first-year coach.
and
It's
So
a first-year coach.
you have LeBron.
You're going to show a lot of immaturity.
right,
You have LeBron.
and Luka.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you.
You have LeBron and Luka. JJ Redick can be a first-year coach. The ball is going in LeBron's hand, and LeBron's gonna look.
LeBron didn't look great last game.
Did anyone? you might remember. Do you remember when J.R. Smith went on some podcast and he was talking about they were playing the Celtics when they were with the Cavs? There was like a Game 7. Poggi knows what I'm talking about. He was telling this awesome story about how LeBron literally coached that like 7 straight possessions, ran the exact same play.
No, that was Shumpert.
Iman Shumpert. Excuse me,
Shumpert,
not J.R. Smith.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Both can shoot the 3 insanely well. So, but yeah, like it's LeBron. LeBron is going to. He's not going to let J.J. Redick's first-year head coach. Asterisk, whatever
we'll see.
Call it.
It's not even that. It's just there's not a single basketball player ever I would trust more in a Game 7.
I understand that, but
because who's going to stop LeBron?
I think there's flaws.
You think
Jaden McDaniels defensively has been great.
It's LeBron.
He's great, but
He didn't do great this past game.
It was Game 1.
Okay, I'm
He's
just saying.
He's a 40-year-old man
I
in
know.
Game 1.
I'm just saying. You guys are glazing right now. I'm just saying.
No,
It's
we're
LeBron.
not glazing.
We're not glazing.
No, that's
it's
not
LeBron.
glazing. No, I think you just. We was like, oh, they got LeBron and Luka. He was like, yeah, but they got a first-year coach. Like,
And Jaden McDaniels.
Hey, we don't know how much of the show he's running, but
you know they got LeBron,
we'll see.
but we got Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll
we'll
stand
see.
on that,
I
but-
just think if it gets that far, I think having LeBron and Luka
this could
takes you
age
over the edge.
perfectly for me.
I'll
It could
get
age
I'll get
perfectly
a
for
clip
us.
ready. I'll make a clip tonight.
We'll
put this
What
out.
if the T-Wolves sweep?
Find your cameras.
What?
Talk to the camera.
I'm just saying, what if?
Say that.
I mean, then they sweep them. Then we never get to the Game 7 part.
Yeah. Doesn't mean LeBron's not the greatest Game 7 performer in NBA history.
I know.
Doesn't
but I'm
mean
just
LeBron
saying.
wouldn't win that match.
said
He still
Game
hits
7.
he's still this is going off the rails. He would still take a hit in legacy, but that's not even what I was talking about.
By getting
I have the T-Wolves in 7. That's all I'm saying. I'll
Jay
end it
has
there.
something different.
But the New York Knicks
And so do I.
rallied in Game 1 at home. They ended that
Yeah.
game 20. Talk about an immature team. Let's talk about the Pistons. 20-0 run. Finished that game. What a just awful
collapse.
way to frickin' end that game.
Yeah.
What did this game show about the Knicks, but also the Pistons?
I think this showed the Knicks' experience in moments like this. The Knicks are a scary team to play when it
They're
comes
on.
down to those gotta have it moments because they have so many players that are willing to do it. And I mean like the dirty work, like OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. Like they're a different team when it comes down to the wire. And on the flip side of that, this is just a display of the Pistons' inexperience in
Yep.
games like
I was
this.
gonna
I
say
mean,
that.
you had Sar Thompson miss a wide open fast break dunk. You can't be doing stuff like that in the
Yeah.
playoffs, man.
Take the layup, bro.
Just
Yeah,
can't
take
happen.
the layup.
No, just make a dunk. It's a dunk. Like
If you're him, you're gonna
dunks
make
are
the dunk.
technically supposed to be easier,
Especially for somebody
especially if you
6'5".
wide open. And, and you can dunk.
It's painful,
But-
but it's easy.
But anyway, that's besides the point. Like, yeah, this just showed their lack of experience in
Yep.
moments like this.
Can't close the game
The
out.
offense became bad, and they didn't really have any timeout. They had one timeout left, so they couldn't even really burn a timeout
Yeah,
to
bad
gather
management
themselves.
too.
So yeah, bad management, bad offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you lose games, man. You end the game until you completely not.
You know, these New York teams with the same thing happened to Syracuse with UConn in the Final Four. Like everything that could go wrong just went wrong.
Yeah.
and Detroit just fell apart. But the turnaround was remarkable.
Yeah, for sure.
Still, it's a talented team. They're just young. They're inexperienced.
Yeah, it feels
And-
like the Thunder last year.
They won Detroit won 14 games this year. They were the worst team in basketball. Like I think the moment was a little too bright
Yep.
for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I think it's a good learning lesson. And I'm not sure if they're going to win the series, but I don't think they'll. I think they'll
Yeah, I
take a
don't-
game.
They'll take a game or
Yeah.
maybe two, but I think it shows when the Knicks are on, no one can stop them. Even the Celtics. If they matched up with the Celtics, dude, y'all
just
that
said you
sounds
hated
like
the
a guy
NBA.
that hates the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
Celtics, they're experienced. They are. They won the championship. Okay. If Jason Brown
Jason
Brown. Jason Tatum didn't show up game 1. Jaylen Brown didn't show up game 1. Jaylen Brown is on the left. Jason Tatum, I don't think I want him in my clutch. But that's not the point. The Knicks, they have talented rosters. They just keep playing the Pacers. Bro, the Pacers are like their kryptonite, though. And that's true. It's just like
they beat the Pacers. Oh,
No,
the
they
Knicks,
didn't.
I thought.
No,
Sorry,
they did
I thought you were
not.
talking about the Celtics.
No, they did not.
They're still talking about the Celtics.
no.
My apologies.
Okay. And like we were talking about the Pistons, it feels like last year's Thunder or last year's Cavs. Like they're just not ready yet. They need probably one more year where they go and draft, another shooter. And they got some old souls on that team. That's why they're so good. They got a lot of veteran leadership. Tim Hardaway is a big veteran guy.
Yeah.
They're missing Isaiah
Center,
Stewart.
man. Yeah, I was about to say
They're
their centers
missing.
are just,
He got hurt or something?
Yeah, he's out game 2.
Yeah.
Ah, dang.
Yeah, but he hasn't been great this year.
No.
And
Well,
he's
he
been good
struggled.
for their chemistry,
He
though.
struggled to
Like-
stay healthy too. I think he's averaging 2 and 3. It's not great. Not
I
great
mean, it's
this
not,
year.
but some people.
But
like,
he's better than that. Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, and
He's gotten in more fights than frickin' has points.
Baskets, yeah.
You
So-
mentioned center. Jalen. He's 21, and so he's a young guy. And like you just said, I don't want to repeat what you said, but they are like the Cavs last year.
No, it's
So,
true. They also had that one center. He's young, Jalen Duran.
That's what I said.
That's sorry,
You're good,
but
you're good.
he's been their guy.
Yeah.
So could this be the year the Knicks get to the finals?
No.
No.
Man, I almost cursed. No. Man, no,
y'all
bro.
hating.
I would love to see New York make a finals run.
It's just getting
But
past the Celtics.
there are just two teams in the East that are just superior to them, and the Celtics is at the top of that food chain, bro. Like, as good as you, the way you
No,
said.
I know the Celtics are good. Trust
no,
me.
you said.
But if they can get
You
past the
said like in
Celtics,
moments
They're not
like,
getting
they're
past
not,
the
That's the
Cavs.
point.
If they can get past Boston, they're not getting past Cleveland.
hypothetically, I think they could.
Okay,
Like
that's fine.
I think they could.
You also think Jason
A lot's
Brown is
gotta
the
go
best
right.
player in the NBA?
Yeah, a lot will have to go right.
Exactly, Jason Brown.
I know you don't want to start this.
I just look, man. They, however good you think the Knicks are, the Celtics are just like.
I
that
know
much better.
they're good.
The
but
Celtics, like, they do not have a flaw in their team.
also the Knicks. Well, the thing about the Celtics, what bails them out a lot is their coaching and their bench depth.
So doing their job,
Yeah, but Tom Thibodeau can't do that.
that's why they're not
That's
going
why
to beat
they're
the
not
Celtics.
getting-
That's what I'm saying. If it happens by miraculous
I'm
works,
so confused.
like I said in my notes, I don't see the Celtics being stopped. But if they get past the Celtics, they win it all.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause they have the roster from down
if
front.
If you get past the Celtics, I'm willing to give you that. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
for
Like,
sure.
But
I'm not
you
saying
won't.
they're going to beat them.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're in agreement. All three of us are in agreement.
Yes, we've been
Okay.
fighting for 3.
I don't know why we're fighting that.
no, it's the way you phrased it. I thought you
Yeah,
were saying,
no,
like,
I'm saying like if the Celtics don't show up to play against the Knicks, which is a very big possibility,
nah.
I feel like the Celtics don't turn it on until the Eastern Conference Finals, though. So if they don't show up and the Knicks somehow beat them, they could win the finals.
Knicks are the 3 seed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if they both advance, the Celtics would be playing
The Knicks.
the winner of.
I think the
No,
Cavs,
they'd be
right?
playing the winner of the 4 and 5 game.
4 and 5 is Bucks. Oh yeah,
No,
no,
the-
they ain't getting past
the,
the Pacers.
The Cavs are the 1 seed.
Cavs
Oh,
are
I'm
1
tripping.
seed.
So, yeah, they would be playing the Knicks.
They
You're
would
right,
be
you're right,
playing.
you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun series. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, so would that Cleveland Indiana matchup.
Yeah.
I like Midwest matchups.
That's a
Those are
great
fun,
matchup.
yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton.
I just don't like watching the Cavs, man.
They're
not fun to watch.
You're just a hater, man.
He doesn't watch the NBA.
You don't.
I watch a little bit of the NBA, but I'm not gonna go watch a game every night. I'm sorry. Like
Oh, neither am I. But
the views
I
are
still
the
like
views are
watching
down
the
for a
Cavs.
reason.
I mean,
That's all.
That's a story
I mean,
for another day.
Anyway, but what do the Pistons need to add specifically for them to kind of be
get
where
over
the
this
Cavs
hump?
are really now?
Experience.
Experience. I
Experience
mean, they
is-
have the experience. It's just they don't have the
They ain't got
scoring.
enough.
It's not the balance.
The
is-
leader of their team has just played his first playoff
They
game.
need a score.
They need a scorer?
Like somebody that pops out though, like that has a role.
Like a big name or just like a.
Yeah, like almost like a star type.
So do you think the Detroit Pistons should go out and get Kevin Durant in this offseason?
I don't think Kevin.
Oh no, he won't.
I don't
But
think
if,
Kevin
but if
Durant
we're- if
wants
we're-
to go
if we're
to
talking
Detroit,
about, if we're talking
but-
about big what ifs, like potential what ifs.
I mean, that would help tremendously for sure. But they don't need a small forward. They have small forwards on this team.
But they need to score.
I think they need a traditional point guard that could.
What? They have a traditional point guard.
Cade's good. He's more. I see him more as a shooting guard.
Andre, Cade is averaging double-digit assists this season.
I see him more of a shooting guard. He's averaging 21, dude. He's like a CJ. That's like saying CJ McCollum is a traditional point guard.
Nobody says.
Dude, that is exactly what that is. This is the last time we talking about NBA on here because y'all don't see anywhere where I'm coming from. Bro, Cade,
Oh, my God.
I'm not saying Cade Cunningham is CJ, but they have the same type of play.
They don't. Not
Yes,
at all.
they do.
CJ McCollum can't play point guard to save his life.
CJ McCollum was playing point guard for the Pelicans in the playoffs. What are you talking about?
Was he doing it effectively?
Some nights, yeah, but some nights very much no. So, yeah.
I forgot what we were talking about, but
What
We're talking about the Pistons,
need.
what they need.
oh, you say they need a score.
They need
I do think they need a
they need
second
another score.
because
They need
Cade's play
center is
style.
really what they need.
He's 21. Jalen Duran's averaging a
They need
double-double at
depth.
21.
They need depth. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
They need
Do
depth.
you want me to pull up? I wrote it down in my notes. You want me to pull up his stats
Depth
right now?
center. All right. Chill out. Depth center.
Uh-huh.
Because Isaiah Stewart, he's not.
11
he-
points,
he
10
hasn't been.
rebounds. That's a double-double. That's a double-double.
Cool,
11
Will.
points, 10
I'm about
rebounds.
to mute your mic. I'm about to mute your mic. Do you want to do this?
All I said was he's averaging a double-double.
Okay. Move on. What do they need, Will?
I think they just need experience. They need more.
Okay.
Like, they're not going to win a finals this year. No one thinks they will win the finals this year.
Right, we
No one
talked
thinks
about
they're going to
that.
get out of the first round. But the turnaround is so promising that you can go from winning 14 games to being a what are they? A six seed.
Six
Is
to
just
two, three.
a great job. Like they won 30 more games this year than they did
Yeah,
last year.
credit to their front office too, though, because they've put the pieces together to make them that good in 1 year. That's impressive, and that's what makes me mad watching the Pelicans play because it's like, dude, it's not that hard. Like you see all these teams doing it,
Yeah.
and you have all the talent in the world, and you still can't do it. That's,
but
that's
just-
what really
just
makes
wait.
me mad.
Joe Dumars is gonna fix that.
Joe DeMars ain't fixing.
He's gonna fix it.
fixing
gonna
anything.
fix
The cursed organization that is known as the New Orleans Pelicans. But which series has been your favorite so far?
Clippers Nuggets.
Same. I got that one too. Damn,
Yeah.
we all.
I
gonna
think it's
say that?
also so ironic that that's the
No,
fourth and fifth
that
seed,
was
but-
actually like one of the most fun basketball games I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
that and like I was getting flashbacks to James Harden clip. I mean, Houston Rockets James Harden.
Oh
Yeah.
Just glimpses
Before he
though,
was
like
fat.
a little glimpse.
I mean,
Yeah.
even with
Yeah.
him being fat, his first step is so crazy.
He-
Like
yeah,
once he gets by
that
you
first move
and that
is
floater-
crazy. Yeah,
You
his
see
hezzies,
those-
like the dribble hezzies is unpredictable.
You see those edits where they literally make him go left and he won't, and he still beats him.
Mhm. That's like Zion though.
Like,
Like when he's
it's-
forced to go to his left, he's still gonna score with his left.
Oh, I mean like he stays on his right.
Wow.
Like they're literally like lining up. They're guarding him to where like
Yeah, that
he
was,
cannot
like, so-
move
yeah.
forward,
Yeah.
and he's like there's it's
He
literally
still
like,
got past him. Yeah.
exactly horizontal, and he
Yeah.
still scores.
Bro, I remember James Harden had people guarding him with their hands behind their back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like because
Dude.
that's how unstoppable he was. Like
And then watching Russ.
75 commercial.
Uh-huh.
Y'all remember that when he was like, "Can you go to your left?" And they're like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
go to
yeah.
his left."
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Watching Russ too was fun.
It's good. I
And
like
seeing
Russ
seeing
as
the
well.
old guy, like just that era, kind of give me a little like glimpse of back in the past.
Don't know
was
how
cool.
many we got left to
Yeah,
watch them
to
do
watch
that.
them.
And
yeah.
then you
Dude,
get-
I know. I saw something today. Curry's 37, bro.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
37.
that makes me sad.
yeah.
I feel old.
Yeah.
I'm
And it's so
18.
crazy. Like I was thinking, like you literally watch these guys get older, like in real time. You don't
No,
even
like
realize it.
Jimmy Butler, 35. Like that's crazy to
Oh.
me because I
Yeah.
remember Jimmy Butler
On the Bulls.
on the Bulls, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is.
I remember when Jimmy Butler went from the Bulls to the T-Wolves to the Sixers. Like,
I remember when Jimmy Butler was playing with Joakim Noah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
and
and that was a dominant duo.
they were
Like,
good. Yeah, they were good. But I mean, I hope that one does go 7. Clippers
Nuggets.
and
I think
and
it
Nuggets.
definitely could.
I just, man, if the Clippers were healthy all season, you just kind of wonder like what could have been maybe.
What are they? The 5th seed? They could at least been a 3 seed. I think. The way that they finished the season, like
They're
that last
what are they?
little
5?
stretch,
They're 5 right now, huh?
5 seed.
Yeah.
And
They
a
won 8
big
in
part
a
of
row.
that was getting not only them getting healthy with Kawhi,
Yeah.
but Zubac has been
He's been tremendous.
playing on another
most
level.
improved player,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
should be, but they're gonna give it to the number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, which that's a whole nother conversation. I think they need to just do away with that award if you're gonna give it to top 3 picks.
Like most improved,
That
though. Like
become what
Cade
they're
has
supposed
been
to
that
be.
consistently for
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Detroit.
So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
Updated finals predictions. I've got Celtics Thunder still.
I do too.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Thunder,
gonna go,
bro.
I'm gonna
Oh
go
my
Celtics
God.
Thunder.
They won by 51.
Yeah,
Damn,
Yeah.
like that was
the
worse than the
largest
Pels
game
getting
won
blown out
yet.
by the
I
Thunder
mean,
last year.
in playoff history.
Well, I was hoping that they'd win by 60, so it would erase when the Nuggets beat the Pels by like 55.
In the
And
regular
that
season, though, I mean,
No, that was a playoff game. No, it wasn't a playoff.
no,
Yeah, it was a
wasn't.
playoff game.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't a playoff game. I'm tripping, bro. I'm tired. That's why I took my nap.
We might have to show that video of Will sleeping on the couch
All right.
in this.
Let that be the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you have?
Yeah, I got Celtics Thunder. The Thunder they seem just very poised and promised to make.
They're
a run
ready,
this
man.
Year. They were a team last year that they were good, but they just weren't ready yet. But I think this year they got it all, bro.
Yeah.
Like just like the Celtics, I said they don't have any flaws. Same thing with the
Yeah.
Thunder.
I don't see the Celtics.
Only thing is with the Thunder is they don't have many guys that can beat you off the dribble, and that is something you really need in the playoffs because defense is condensed and things like that.
Yeah, they're
but-
actually starting a game
But
plan. And
still, I think they're so talented.
looking
I don't
at?
know that it'll
I
matter.
wasn't tripping. In 2009, I was right. The Nuggets won 121-63 over the New Orleans Hornets in Game 4.
Oh, you meant like back in the.
But I meant like back in the
I
day.
I
thought
thought
you
you
meant,
meant
like,
Pelicans.
recently.
No,
It was like-
no, sorry.
No, because the Pelicans actually did lose by like
I-
60 this year in the regular season.
Yeah. But
So
it wasn't
that's what
to
I
the
thought you were
Nuggets.
talking about.
Yeah, no.
And it was to the Nuggets. Like, it was pretty embarrassing.
Was it? I thought it was to the Bucks. It was to someone. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm pretty sure it was the Nuggets. But we had like Antonio Reeves starting. So, like, what did you expect?
Alfred Payton.
Yeah, Alfred Payton had like 20 assists
Shout
and 2
out
points.
Alfred Payton. Man,
but that's
yeah,
my dog,
that's
man.
so wild.
You talk about traditional
Off
point
the
guard.
bench.
That's what I want, man. That's what I want. But like, I love Alfred Payton, bro. That's the only good thing to come out of UL. Anyway, that will do it here for us today. Thanks to William Gilreath, Jayden Smith. Thanks for a little crazy today.
It
But
was a fun
That was
episode.
fun.
It was
Yeah, it was
entertaining.
fun.
it was
Yeah,
fun.
It was entertaining.
And we're gonna come back to all that. I'm telling y'all, next week, if anything has changed,
I look forward.
y'all can get on me, and I'll own that because that's
And-
stick to my word.
Yeah.
About the T-Wolf stuff, y'all was tripping about the other stuff
We just
What other stuff?
misunderstood you with the Knicks.
with the Celtics,
with the Knicks
bro.
and the Celtics
Like,
thing?
come on.
That's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, man. But thanks, Poach. I'll say thanks, Poach. You got a new one yet? Or the Lakers
Nah, I'm gonna just
sticking with it?
be involved.
All right. I'm your host.
That's why he's wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Notice that.
Yep.
So.
All right. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.